Snow White, written by Grimm Brothers. Once upon a time, a little princess was born at a castle. Because she had skin as white as snow, people called her Snow White. But then, the queen died of a disease. After a while, the king married a new queen. She was very beautiful on the outside, but was a wicked witch. The new queen had a magic mirror.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
You are the fairest one of all.
That's right. I'm the fairest one of all in the land.
One day, the queen asked the mirror again.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Snow White is the fairest one of all.
What? The princess is more fair than me? It can't be true. No. To be the fairest one of all, I have to get rid of her.
The queen ordered a huntsman to take Snow White to the forest and murder her. No, I can't commit such a horrible deed. I can't kill the kind and pretty princess. The huntsman took the princess to the forest and talked to her. Snow White, run away! Never come back to the castle.
What is it?
The poor princess walked through the forest alone, crying. Walking a while, she found a little cottage that looked like a doll's house.
Dear, it's such a little house. Is there anyone in there?
Snow White went into the little cottage.
Wow! The chairs are so little. The beds and tables are very small.
Everything in the house was little and cute, like toys.
There are 7 beds. It must be the home of 7 little people.
The tired princess happened to fall asleep crosswise on the 7 beds.
Look, someone is sleeping on our beds. Look at her. She is a pretty princess.
The 7 dwarfs, the owners of the house, came home from work. Waking up, the princess explained what had brought her there.
Gosh, such an evil queen. Princess, why don't you stay here?
Thanks a lot.
Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after in the forest's hut. Thinking that Snow White had died, the queen was happy.
Without Snow White, I'm the fairest one of all. Magic mirror on the wall, who now is the fairest one of all?
In the cottage of the 7 dwarfs dwells Snow White, fairest one of all.
What? Snow White doesn't lie dead in the forest? I'll kill her with my own hands.
The Mad Queen went to the dwarf's cottage in a disguise to find Snow White.
Buy a pretty comb. Look, dearie, why don't you take a look at these combs? Let me comb your pretty hair.
Sure. It's a pretty comb. Yes, please comb my hair.
The queen put the comb in Snow White's hair on the pretext of combing her hair. Snow White fell to the floor, fainting into death. The queen applied poison on the comb.
With Snow White dead, now I am the fairest in the land.
Back in the castle, the queen asked her magic mirror again.
Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all in the land?
In the cottage of the 7 dwarfs dwells Snow White, fairest one of all.
What?
Snow White didn't die. With the help of the dwarfs, Snow White came back to life.
No way. This time, I have to go again and kill her forever.
This time, the angry queen went to the dwarf's cottage in a disguise as an old apple peddler.
My pet, take a bite off of this delicious apple.
Oh, it's a pretty red apple. I'd like to take a bite.
After biting the apple, Snow White fell to the ground, losing her consciousness. Once again, the apple had terrible poison.
This time, Snow White must be dead. Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all in the land?
You are the fairest one of all.
All right. With Snow White gone, I'm the fairest one of all in the land.
Back home from work, the dwarfs found Snow White dead on the floor.
No, the pretty princess can't be dead like this.
The heartbroken dwarfs placed Snow White in a crystal casket and were holding a bedside vigil for her. At this moment, passing through the forest, a prince of a neighboring kingdom saw Snow White and the dwarfs. I have never seen such a beautiful princess. Look, dwarfs, would you mind if I take the princess to my kingdom? With a sigh, the dwarfs decided to have the prince take care of Snow White. Come and take the casket of this beautiful princess to my kingdom. The servants of the prince pushed up the casket of Snow White. Then, one servant, losing his balance, gave a little shake to the casket. At the moment, the apple stuck in her throat popped out. Snow White came back to life.
Where am I?
Wow, the princess has woken up.
Beautiful princess, let's go to my kingdom and live together. The dwarfs and the prince were so delighted seeing Snow White awaken.
Congratulations, princess. Live happily.
Since then, Snow White married the prince and lived happily ever after.